What is going on, guys? It is Y-Boy on Gas TV here. And today, if you haven't figured out by the title of the video, we're going to be doing an NFL mock draft. First and only one of the 2019 NFL draft season. Did one last year. Pretty interesting. We're going to do one again this year. And I know most of you aren't subscribed for this, but I love the NFL. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride. We have 32 picks to kind of describe what the fuck am I doing. So, without further ado, let's get into it here. Alrighty. So we're going to start off 1 through 10 here. And then we're going to pick one player and show some clips and highlights and whatnot with some interesting music over it. So, let's go ahead and get picks 1 through 10 out of the way, as these are the most interesting picks of the first round of the NFL draft. And with the number 1 pick in the draft this year is the Arizona Cardinals. They went 3-13 a year ago, and there's many needs on this team. And all signs point to this pick. Like, this pick is like years and years in coming, it seems like. Ever since we found out the Cardinals were going to have the one pick, and Cliff Kingsbury said he loves Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has been mocked multiple times, number 1 overall. Grant, I hope draft night they find a trade partner for Josh Rosen, and then they can continue to trade back into the draft here and, find some interesting pieces to go along with Kyler Murray. It makes sense, it doesn't make sense. I feel like it doesn't make sense this year for to go with the quarterback. But I'm going to have him go quarterback this year. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall. Like multiple mock drafts have had. The 49ers then will be the number 2 pick on the clock. And with the number 1 player, in my opinion, in the draft, in Nick Bosa still being there, they're going to take another edge player. It seems like they take an edge player every year. So with Nick Bosa there, they'll go Nick Bosa. If Nick Bosa goes 1, then I see him going Quinnen Williams. Things will change depending on if Kyler goes 1, Bosa goes 1. I see him if Kyler goes 1, Bosa goes 2. With the 3rd pick, the New York Jets, they got their running back, they got their quarterback. Need receiver help, but I feel like 3 might be too early of a spot to take DK Metcalf. Maybe train back to maybe, I don't know, it depends on who wants a quarterback. Because if Kyler goes 1, teams are going to just start panicking and making the trades if they want Dwayne Haskins. So I could see him take all the way back to maybe 5, and maybe the Tampa trades up to get maybe like Devin White or maybe like a Josh Allen or something. Maybe they can trade down to 7, so then the Jaguars can trade up and get Haskins. There's multiple spots I can see go here. But with this one, I'm going to have the 2nd best player on the board, according to a lot of people, Josh Allen go. It just makes sense. I've seen it everywhere. You got Le'Veon Bell, you got Sam Darnold. Receivers in need on offense. Taking care of a need on defense. And making the additions of C.J. Mosley. And now Josh Allen there. This defense is becoming a, on paper, decent defense. Now we're going to get into the 2nd draft. John Rosen. Why the fuck? John Gruden is in charge of with the Oakland Raiders. He's got a couple picks in this year's first round. He's one of 3 teams that have multiple first round picks. This is the first year with Mike Mayock as his general manager. And I mean, I can see him going Quinn Williams here. Maybe take a shot at DK Metcalf. But I have him going Devin White, taking care of some linebacker need. Devin White out of LSU. I have number 4 going to the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are an interesting team at 5. Last year, they took... Who did they take a year ago? They took a guy out of Washington. A defensive tackle. The year before that, they took O.J. Howard. So I'm thinking... You're starting to get in the range of, I think it's okay to maybe reach on like a TJ Hawkinson or maybe a Noah Fant. Quinton Williams doesn't make sense here. Or Sean Gary, maybe? I have him going Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle from Florida. Just getting a tackle roster. A young one. I pray to God that is not breaking news out of the NFL. I am not going to stop recording this video for that. At 6, this is the interesting pick of the draft. Number 6, besides number 1, 1 and 6 are the 2 picks in the first round that get very interesting. Because they both essentially can be quarterbacks. I feel like this pick here, pick number 6, is going to be more of a, like, yes, it's going to be a quarterback than 1. But in my mock draft, I have quarterback going 1. The Giants don't have a future replacement for Eli Manning. And in one of the weirdest, like, fantasy trades I saw literally a week ago, when Russell Wilson goes, yo, if I don't have a contract in the works done here by 11:59 p.m. tonight, yeah, we're going to hit the free agent market next year. Well, then he proceeds to sign. It involves Russell Wilson. It involves Russell Wilson going to the Giants in exchange for 6 and 17. And then it has the Seahawks trading 6 and 17 to Arizona for number 1. And then with the number 1 pick, they take Kyler Murray, replacing Wilson with Murray. Future done. That's like one of the weirdest trades. And I'm not saying it's not out of a possibility, but with Russell's new $30 million a year contract, it's going to be interesting. We're still talking about the Giants here, and they still have needs all over the place. Needs we can start talking about here for the New York Football Giants are... Why can't I find the New York Football Giants? They need edge, offensive tackle, corner, quarterback, linebacker, receiver. They need fucking everything. You lose Odell because you trade him for the 17th overall pick. You lose Landon Collins because you don't franchise tag him. You trade away someone to Cleveland. Who did they trade away to Cleveland? And you got back an offensive lineman. That's all I only can remember. You traded away Beckham for 17 and Jabril Peppers. Please, God, don't be like a trade that just happened. My phone is so far away, I don't want to look at it. I feel like you have maybe the third best player on the board sitting here at 6 because teams are taking other needs. I say you go Quinn Williams out of Alabama, and you're fulfilling needs of yours. Just do it. Just do it, New York. Don't worry about a quarterback. You got Eli. You trade away Odell because you have Eli. That's the craziest thing ever. But, you know, it's cool. It's cool. You made the Browns awesome. You don't have a first-round pick this year. Might be regretful. You could have maybe ended up with like an N'Keal Harry and A.J. Brown, a Marquise Brown, other receiving targets, very interesting. The Browns took Odell, and they got the best team on paper. Pick 7, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they added Nick Foles at quarterback, and I feel like that helps them wait a year to get a quarterback. Take a look at the board. You can go to T.J. Hawkinson here. You could go, maybe if you really think you need receiver help, you can go DK Metcalf. Offensive line, you could possibly go Jonah Williams, at Cody Ford here. You could probably go. Yeah, there's multiple players you can go here. I have them taking Rashawn Gary, fulfilling that edge need they have. Rashawn Gary goes the pick before Detroit. Ugh. And this 8th overall pick is interesting for me because Detroit has been a team to, in year past, take a shot at what's the word I'm looking at? Hyped up tight end prospects. And this is another year where I could see it happening. They can go and take TJ Hawkinson, a potentially top tier tight end in this year's draft. Get another target for your aging quarterback and whatnot. Off recording, I sure hope that is a Twins Astros update. I've done mock drafts where I've had him taking a quarterback here, and I just don't see it at this moment in time. Again, 2020's draft class can include Tua Tagovailoa. It can include Jake Fromm. There's a fucking beeping noise outside. It can include, it's gonna include Justin Herbert. I mean, there's more quarterbacks in next year's draft than this year's draft. And I feel like if you're thinking about taking Stafford's replacement, I'll go ahead and take a tight end and get potentially ready for the future. Going to a team who has already got their future in Josh Allen and potentially could have had a number 1 receiver in Antonio Brown, but that only lasted like 4 hours. Like, jeez. The Buffalo Bills. Now, this team on paper is interesting. They got a great secondary. They got pieces in the linebacking core. They got interesting up front. Taking a look at what could be available here at 9 for defensive pieces here. Because the Bills, they need defensive line, edge, offensive tackle, receiver. Brian Burns could be an interesting piece here. Ed Oliver can be an interesting pick. Devin Bush could be an interesting pick. I mean, I don't say linebackers in need. Montez Sweat, Cody Ford, Jonah Williams. There's multiple interesting picks here for the Buffalo Bills. But at 9, I'm thinking of getting a top-tier receiver for your potential top-tier quarterback. And taking the number 1 receiver in the draft, a player that could have been taken as high as 3 for like a Calvin Johnson type of comparison. I won't compare him like that quite yet. I have to see him play. I have the Bills going DK Metcalf. They're getting a number 1 receiver for Josh Allen to throw the ball to. With the signing of TJ Yeldon today, they got the pieces forming here, and to me, this team is gonna be interesting for years to come. Rounding out the top 10, we got a quarterback coming off the board, and it's to an interesting team. And this is very interesting here. You're gonna hear typing on my keyboard because I have a question about a certain quarterback, who's no longer on the Broncos. That's Case Keenum. He's gone. So currently, the quarterback room in Denver is Joe Flacco and whoever the fuck John Elway signed. Okay? You literally just got Joe Flacco. What the Ravens did a year ago, trading back into the first round, pick 32, in drafting a quarterback is interesting. Have him sit behind Joe Flacco. I see the Broncos taking Haskins and potentially having Haskins do what Lamar Jackson did a year ago and come in and replace a potentially injured Joe Flacco. I feel like this might be the one time that you can hear the words the Broncos got a rookie quarterback and had a tiny bit of success with them. Because if you think back to all the rookie quarterbacks they've drafted in the past 10 years alone, in the first round, they drafted Tim Tebow 25 overall in 2010, I want to say. It was either 10 or 11. They traded up and took Paxton Lynch. To bust if I can see him any day of the week. I feel like Haskins has the potential to become a, how do I put it, type of quarterback. He can be that mid-tier quarterback. I can see him being like a current day Phillip Rivers, current day Ben Roethlisberger. He can potentially win the big games. He can take your team to the playoff. He can win you a Super Bowl. He can do it. I just don't see him being like a Drew Brees or a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type of person. I see him taking the opportunity, taking what he can learn from the pocket passing Joe Flacco and take from Elway's like general managing skills and whoever the hell the head coach is there in Denver, and potentially take over things and be that future they need and have been looking for ever since Peyton retired. Because take a look at the quarterbacks they've had since Peyton retired. Brock Osweiler, he left and came back. He got paid and came back. They had Trevor Siemian for a year. Paxton Lynch. They've had Case Keenum. They've had all these quarterbacks, and just nothing has lived up to the Peyton Manning-esque that it's supposed to be. So a quick recap of picks 1 through 10. Kyler Murray going off the board at 1 to Arizona. Nick Bosa going off the board at number 2 to the Niners. The Jets taking Josh Allen at 3. Devin White going to the Raiders at 4. Tampa Bay takes Jawan Taylor at 5. Giants avoid quarterback at 6 and go with Quinn Williams. 7 at the Jaguars taking Rashawn Gary. TJ Hawkinson, one of the 2 Iowa tight ends, goes 8. Buffalo Bills take a potential superstar receiver, DK Metcalf, at 9. And the Broncos potentially taking their future in Dwayne Haskins at 10. Alrighty, so we're now on to picks 11 through 20. And things get a little bit less interesting than picks 1 through 10. Things start to make more sense. And yeah, let's just get into it. So the Bengals have pick 11. And the Cincinnati Bengals have just been one of those what the fuck has been going on teams. They need a linebacker, offensive line, tight end. They need quarterback help. They need offensive line help. They just have needs all over the fucking place. And I don't know if it's like they need linebacker help. They need offensive line help, and like they can reach for players. But like two of the best players in the draft are still on the board. And Brian Burns and Ed Oliver, you can rank them however you want. I think they go ahead and just take the best player available instead of taking a need. And that might be wrong for them to do. Or that might be right for them to do. Because think back to 2017 when they took John Ross. They traded up to get John Ross. He's been a bust so far. Doesn't help he hasn't been healthy or anything. But I feel like taking a shot at Brian Burns and getting that edge player, and everyone expects to be top tier player, is a smart move for him to do. Because you can address linebacker help, you can address quarterback help later in the draft, because there's been multiple players who've come from those positions, offensive line, later in the draft and been successful. My team at 12, the Green Bay Packers, and this is a team to look out for. They do need some safety help. I mean, with the addition of Adrian Amos, big help. I mean, you still need a number 2 safety. You need a safety opposite of Amos. And that position for years has either been Clinton Dix or Burnett, but they've had rotations because of Burnett being unhealthy. Need at tight end, but I mean, you're still paying Jimmy Graham money. Offensive tackle. I mean, you brought in Billy Turner. I mean, you do need offensive line help. And if you just go back to what I said literally 35 seconds ago about taking offensive linemen later in the draft and having them be a success, don't worry about it. Receiver, I don't know if there's a receiver really in this range you can go with. A linebacker, I mean, you brought in two. You brought in Preston Smith and you brought in, what was the other guy? Who was the other guy? You brought in Preston Smith and, he's from Baltimore. He wore number 90 in Baltimore. Who was it? We're gonna forget about it. We'll remember him when season comes around. Linebacker, yeah. Interior offensive line, go back to what I said literally a minute ago. And you can get it later in the draft. Interior defensive line. Interesting to start talking about that. There's some interesting pieces still sitting here for interior defensive line. And most interesting prospect of them all is the guy people been at one point had the number 1 player in the draft, Ed Oliver. Very interesting. Take Ed Oliver here. You get an interior defensive lineman. Your defensive line starting to look like Mike Daniels, Ed Oliver, or what's his fucking name? God, why can't I think of his name? Kenny Clark. You can put him in either or. You have Preston Smith, interior linebackers of Jake Ryan still on the team. I don't think so. I have to go over the team. But adding Ed Oliver would be a huge help to your defense. You're fixing your defense. You're seeing a fine number 2 receiver and offensive lineman in 2 later in the draft, which you have the picks to do. So just think of that. Just to think of that. Ed Oliver would make sense here. Get some defensive line help. And yeah. Let's go on to pick number 13 with Miami Dolphins. And this is another team that needs a quarterback. I don't see him reaching for a quarterback. I mean, again, you can go into the second round. There could be quarterbacks sitting there that you can say, hey, sit behind Fitzmagic for a year and we will believe in you. I have him going the best linebacker on the board, Devin Bush Jr. out of Michigan. Go linebacker help, get some players on this team. This is another interesting team. A team I might take over in Madden 20 and try to build up. Don't know yet. With pick number 14, the Atlanta Falcons are a team that has the defensive talent but just never healthy. A team that has Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu. A team that has, or had, or might still have, what the fuck is his name? Well, they had Devontae Freeman. It was a Freeman, Tevin Coleman backfield at one point. A very, very interesting group. Adding Montez Sweat, Sweat. I don't know how you say it. Will give some help to defense. Healthy player. The Redskins at 15, another team that needs a quarterback, another team that could trade into your top 10 in the draft and potentially take Dwayne Haskins before the Giants could take him, before the fucking Broncos could take him, before the Jaguars can take him, before maybe any team that needs a quarterback can take him. They need a quarterback. The future of Alex Smith is yet unknown. You have a Case Keenum quarterback. Literally, you have Case Keenum at quarterback who had one good year. He's a system quarterback. I don't know if Jay Gruden can do the work and make him a need. Again, in a weak quarterback class, your top two quarterbacks who are a guarantee, like a first round pick, are off the board. I mean, they can come up and take Daniel Jones. They can come up and take Drew Lock. They can come up and take whoever the fuck they want. We saw E.J. Manuel go over Geno Smith in the 2013 draft. Granted, the 2013 draft has had absolutely no quarterbacks in it. It feels like it's this year. I mean, two quarterbacks are there and two quarterbacks are gone. I feel like you go and take the smart move. You can take the offensive lineman at Corey Ford. You can play him at tackle, play him at guard. You can swing him in, you can swing him out. It's just a guarantee type of pick. And you can protect your future running back in Darius Geis. Keep Keenum up for a year. So then you can either A, tank for a year, or B, be picking at 15 a year from now, you know. That's what you got to start thinking about here. 2020 draft. Tua from Herbert. Everyone else that could be in that 2020 draft for quarterbacks. The 2020 draft is like the 2018 of quarterbacks. It could be even better. Let's go back to 2012 of quarterback classes. I mean, Luck, RG3, Tannehill. Just think about that class. Why risk it on a quarterback this year? Why? At pick number 16, we have the Carolina Panthers. And they add receiver help a year ago with Maryland receiver DJ Moore. They, I think, brought in more receiver help. They brought in pieces, but I feel like getting another offensive line piece here would be smart from them to do. Go and get Jonah Williams and keep Cam Newton upright and healthy. That's your goal. That's just your goal, Carolina. Go take Jonah Williams and you have yourself a potentially healthy Cam Newton. Just think about it. And Cam Newton is healthy. Take it back to 2015. 15-1 MVP Cam. Just think about it. And now we're back on the board with these goddamn New York Giants. We had them take Quinn Williams at 6. taking a look at the players left on the board and all those names we listed earlier, offensive tackle is a mighty sure interesting piece. Wide receiver, a mighty interesting get. Cornerback, you can go get. A edge player, you can go get. There's just pieces everywhere here in the draft. Sitting at 17, my bad. For the New York Football Giants. Just think about. Just think the players just sitting there waiting for you to take them. But nah, you go ahead and get your quarterback. You passed up on Dwayne Haskins earlier. You might have been able to start him week 1 against whoever the fuck you're playing week 1. Instead, I feel like you're going to get Daniel Jones and have a quarterback you can sit behind your quarterback you just seem to have to continue to pay. You potentially get your future and have no receivers to throw the ball to. You got your future quarterback. That's all that matters. Yay. Take Daniel Jones. Because you add 2 pieces to the future. Good for you, Giants. Now we're just going to quickly talk about the Minnesota Vikings here. A team that has absolutely no cap space. We're able to retain... Is it Kendricks or Bars? Anthony Barr. This offseason. We're able to re-sign Adam Thielen. With absolutely no cap space. A team that's still on paper from a year ago that just was at best. I feel like 2019 is a make or break year for some of these Viking players. Just think about it. Year 1 of Kirk Cousins was an interesting year. I mean, you had the Vikings going at one point, and all of a sudden you just went... That was the grenade hitting the ground and exploding because your season ended up bad. Granted, you were one of the last teams out in the playoff race. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen had the best years of their career. Hands down. Dalvin Cook couldn't stay healthy. Everson Griffin went crazy at one point. Literally fucking, insane. You had injuries to Rode. You had injuries to Trae Waynes. You had injuries all over the place. Yikes. I mean, offensive line is your hugest need. If I go to my source for my team needs, it literally goes interior offensive line, offensive tackle, and then you take a look at defense line, receiver. You don't need receiver. You just locked up your number 1 receiver for the next 4 years. How great will that work out? With Jonah Williams, Cody Ford, Jawan Taylor off the board, take the best offensive lineman still on the board, and Andre Dillard. Report says he can play inside, he can play outside, he can fill multiple needs you have. Just do it. Go to pick number 19 in the Tennessee Titans. They were literally the last team out of making the playoffs in 2018. I don't know what else you can really do. You could go and take a N'Keal Harry. You can go ahead and take the prospect I have him taking in Noah Fant. You can go and take a Cleveland Farrell. You can go and take a Christian Wilkes. You can go and take a Garrett Bradbury, a Greedy Williams, a Byron Murphy, there's multiple players you can take here. And yet again, Delaney Walker's not getting any younger. Your quarterback in Marcus Mariota, just, an average quarterback. I feel like he'll be lucky to have Noah Fant at tight end. Get a playmaker. Get the second Iowa tight end off the board. The only other tight end in this draft that's worthy of being a first-round pick, Irv Smith Jr., borderline. Just go ahead and take him, and you'll be happy for the next couple of years. And rounding out your top 20, we have a receiver who I think sat out a year, or was hurt, or skipped the bowl game, or he did something. He came into 2018's college football season as literally the number one receiver on the board, and then DK Metcalf proceeded to pass him. So, yeah, N'Keal Harry goes number 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They get a 2 receiver to Juju Smith-Schuster and potentially start filling the hole that was left by Mr. Antonio Brown. Picks 11 through 20 read like this. The Bengals take Brian Burns. At pick 12, the Packers take Ed Oliver. At 13, the Dolphins take Devin Bush. At 14, the Falcons take Montez Sweat. At 15, the Redskins take Cody Ford. 16, the Panthers take Jonah Williams. 17, the Giants take Daniel Jones. 18, the Vikings get some offensive line help with Andre Dillard. Pick 19, Noah Fant goes to Tennessee Titans. And the Steelers potentially get their number 1 receiver replaced with N'Keal Harry at pick number 20. Alrighty, we have the final 12 picks in the draft, I believe. We went through 20, final 12. And some interesting picks, I can start saying the least. And it starts with the 21st pick in the Seattle Seahawks. I'm taking Clelin Ferrell, the edge player from Clemson. Just getting some edge help. I mean, you have Frank Clark there. Just get some help on the defense. Start rebuilding that defense that took you to back-to-back Super Bowls. I mean, you got your franchise quarterback there. I mean, no offensive line help. So you could possibly take, like, Garrett Bradbury here. But, again, if you go back 20 minutes from when this video, part of the video starts, you can see him and potentially have him take I don't know what I'm saying here. We're going to skip that slide. I have him taking Clelin Ferrell at pick 21, getting edge help. At 22, I have the Ravens getting some defensive help after they lost a couple of defensive players this year. They lost CJ Mosley. They lost, why can I still not remember his name? He went to the Packers. I want to say his name was something Smith. I might be wrong. Yeah. You just get some defensive line help. Take Christian Wilkes, potentially was the top 3 defensive lineman in the draft. It's fallen down to 22. Oh well. At 23, I have the Texans protecting Mr. Deshaun Watson, potentially for the future with Garrett Bradbury. Again, a team that needs a ton of offensive line help. You need to protect Deshaun Watson so you can throw the ball down that field to DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller and get the ball to Lamar Miller in the backfield. Defense, I mean, I don't know what you could take defensively here. Get some offensive line help. That's what they need. I mean, you could potentially take another offensive lineman in the second or third round. Get you potentially starting offensive lineman on the team. Very interessante. Now, the Oakland Raiders are finally back on the clock at pick number 24. How can John Gruden fuck this up? You gotta steal the player in Devin White at 4. So you're sitting here at 24 and going 20 picks later. What do we do? Do we believe in Derek Carr? I mean, we have to. He has to throw the ball to fucking Antonio Brown and Jordy Nelson. Do we take a running back here? Because no running backs have been taken off the board yet. Do we get more offensive line help? Those answers are no and no and no and no and no and no and no. Take a look at this defense. This defense is shit. Before we come here, they do add Devin White at 4. Get some linebacker help. Now take a potentially top corner in the draft in Greedy Williams, and you've added 2 potentially future players here. 2 of them in one draft. Just think about it. John Gruden, just think about it. Just think. That's all you gotta do. Just think about it. I feel like I've just said just think about it like 7 times in the past 5 minutes. Oh well, we'll continue on here. Pick number 25, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, who don't have Nick Foles anymore. So we don't have any more of the big dick Nick Foles in Philadelphia. What's going to happen when Carson Wentz goes down again? Yikes. This team is potentially, how do I put this? Potentially the same team on paper. You still need some help. Get Byron Murphy here. You can play him at corner. Other players can see here: Nazir Adderley, Jonathan Abram, Chauncey Gardner. There's some interesting, potentially helpful picks here at 25 for your Philadelphia Eagles that can make them a potentially dangerous team for the future. 26. Whew. We're getting there. We've been recording and talking for a while. We've made this video as long as I fucking can. 26, we got the Indianapolis Colts, a surprise team from 2018. They added who at guard? It was Quentin Nelson at guard. They also added Braden Smith at offensive tackle. Receiver is definitely at play for him here. But I'm thinking you have another top tier defense lineman here sitting with Jeffrey Simmons. Take him, get some defensive help to go along with your 100 tackle Darius Leonard from a year ago. Just continually to improve this team so then you can get back to its heydays of Peyton Manning and whatnot. Just do it. yeah. I'm just looking at my notes and just realized we're coming back to another fucking Oakland Raiders pick. If John Gruden didn't fuck this up at 24, he might fuck it up here at 27. I got him taking Josh Jacobs, the running back out of Alabama, to replace Mr. Marshawn Lynch at running back. Getting you're potentially a future running back, the number one running back in the class. The only running back going in the first round. I think the first time in a couple of years that only one running back has gone in the first round. In 2018, it was there a running back taken in last year's first round of the draft? Yes, there was. It was Rashard Penny. It was Rashard Penny and it was Sony Michel. Two running backs I know off the top of my head that were taken. There might have been one more, because, I'm going to have to look this up. Let me just go on the most successful source here. Nope, it was just Rashard Penny and then Sony Michel. Those were the only two running backs taken last year. The year before that, it was Leonard Fournette and I want to say it was Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey. I want to say there was one more. I might be wrong. There was only two in last year in 2017 draft. 2016 was Ezekiel Elliott and just Ezekiel Elliott. Totally thought there were two running backs taken in that draft class in the first round. But the first time in a couple of years where we could potentially go one whole round without a running. I don't know how we replace this. You could potentially go the first round without a running back. And John Gruden doesn't like that sound. He's going to go ahead and take Josh Jacobs out of Alabama. Get his potential fucking running back of the future. Now you're thinking Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs and Antonio Brown and the offensive line that doesn't exist there. Jordy Nelson. Building yourself a team of the future. Interesting. 27 picks in the book. We're going back to back AFC West teams. And here at 28, we have the Chargers. I mean, they can go and get a quarterback here because first round players are 4-year contracts with a 5th-year team option. And you're getting to pick the last couple picks in the first round where teams are really interested in trading back in to get a quarterback for the future. Example was 2015. Or was it 2016? I want to say it was 2015. Paxton Lynch. Broncos. No, it was 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. Broncos trade back up and took Paxton Lynch to get that 5 years potentially guaranteed of a quarterback. I don't see them doing it. I feel like they're comfortable with Phillip Rivers for another year, 2, or 3, or for however long he has to, support his 20 children he has. I have him taking Jerry Tillery, defensive lineman, Notre Dame. Again, there's Chauncey Gardner. There's, you can go Akeem Butler. You can go A.J. Brown. You can go Keith Brown. You can go, whoever his name out of Ohio State. You have receiver choices. You can get number 2 and number 3 receiver here. You got your tight end in the future. You got your running back in the future. Offensive line. I don't know if there's an offensive line really in first round quality here. Still on the board. I mean, Nazir Adderley still available. DeAndre Baker. I think getting a defensive lineman will help this team and get this team going with the future. We have the potential team that should have been in the Super Bowl a year ago. Actually, there's supposed to be 2 of them back to back here. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, and they let Eric Berry go. And they still need that safety help. And go ahead and take Jonathan Abram. Get that safety help. Yeah. We're back to my team at 30. They took Ed Oliver at 12. Get that 2 receiver for Mr. Aaron Rodgers. And have a Devontae Adams, Hakeem Butler receiving core. Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty good. I mean, if you have a Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a Jerron Wilson, a Equanius St. Brown, a, what's his name? He's number 16. What's his name? I don't remember his name. Play 3. And, get Adam Jones back. This team is going to be an interesting team as long as they stay healthy. 31, the Rams. Oh, boy, I had issues making this pick. I feel like this might be a guaranteed trade back pick. I currently haven't taken DeAndre Baker because I'm not going to do any of this trade back shit. Because that's really confusing for people like us. When I see people like us, just people like me. I don't want to rope you guys into my problems I have. And at 32, the New England Patriots. And this might be a very smart pick from. Go and get yourself a potential quarterback of the future. Go and take Drew Lock. So then whenever Tom Brady's ready to retire, you have him just sitting there going, I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play. And if it's not in 5 years, you have yourself another Jimmy Garoppolo situation where you can probably trade him away and get some draft capital. This is a very smart move. Again, we're going back onto this 5th year option. First round players are guaranteed 4 years on their contract plus that 5th year option, team option. Go and take your potential quarterback of the future. Let him sit behind the greatest quarterback of all time and learn. If not Drew Lock, maybe an Irv Smith Jr. tight end. That's all I'm really thinking there for 32. Getting yourself a replacement for Gronk and hoping for the best. 21 through 32 looks like this. I have the Seahawks taking Clelin Ferrell. I have the Ravens at 22 taking Christian Wilkins. At 23, I have the Texans taking Garrett Bradbury. At 24, I have the Raiders taking Greedy Williams. 25, the Eagles taking Byron Murphy. 26, the Colts taking Jeffrey Simmons. 27, the Raiders give themselves a running back with Josh Jacobs. 28, the Chargers invest in some defensive line help in Jerry Tillery. 29, I have the Chiefs taking Jonathan Abram, getting that potential safety of the future. At 30, the Packers taking Hakeem Butler, number 2 receiver. At 20, that was 30, right? 31 of the Rams taking DeAndre Baker, and 32 of the Patriots taking a potential franchise quarterback in Drew Lock. that's gonna be it for me today. We're gonna probably roll out some Drew Lock footage here, and we'll probably see you Thursday night when I'll be live on Twitch at twitch.tv/allgastv with some NFL draft, 2019 NFL draft first round reactions. This was an All Gas TV video. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.